Hello, this is Professor Scott Norman, and this is part 2 of our series where we are working on the brakes on a full floating axle. And so today we will be rebuilding our brakes. We will be rebuilding wheel cylinders. I have a wheel cylinder that is leaking. I also have a wheel cylinder in which one of the pistons is stuck. So we're going to hopefully be able to get that out, and we're going to show you how to rebuild a wheel cylinder and put the brakes back together again on this 1950 Dodge truck. It's today. It's a Saturday, so you know I'm in my old work clothes, out in my air conditioning garage where it's 90 degrees outside here in Kansas with high humidity. So it's kind of nice. It's a good day to kind of work inside with the air conditioning, and so we'll show you the procedures here. So we're gonna pull off the seals, I guess, the dust seals, you want to call them that, but you can see a little bit of leakage there from that wheel cylinder. This one here is not leaking. Okay, so got that. So got the, again, these are like a dust shield, is all they are. So, and try to keep all the dust out, all the brake dust out of the wheel cylinder. Next thing I'm going to do is I got an old hammer that broke, and I used that to tap on the wheel cylinder, and the key is that make sure that they move. And I was hesitant on this one here. That is not good. Let me tap on it some more. If that wheel cylinder is locked up, I got a problem. I'll try to tap it from the other way. Oh, this one's coming out a little bit. Yeah, maybe my hammer is a little bit too big. You see that one moving? Okay, looks like this guy right here. This is my piston. So this piston, you can take a look at it. See how much it really has a lot of gunk in it. And a little bit of a rust is starting to form on the outside of the piston, which is not good, because you don't want this piston to season your wheel cylinder, because then you have to replace the wheel cylinder. So we have that. The fluid is going to be behind the cup. So we're going to see a little hook tool in here, see if I can get the fluid will come out. Get the cup out. There's a spring in there too. So there's that. There's my cup. So it's a 1 1/4 size cup. It says 1 1/4 in it. And get my spring out. So there's my spring. And then I'm gonna try to get the wheel cylinder over here on the rear one is the one that looks like it's locked up, it's solid. So I'm going to try to put this guy in here and push up against the cup and see if I can get it to, well, that's solid, guys. Yeah, I did tap on that wheel cylinder. I tapped on it a little bit this way, then I tapped on it a little bit this way, thinking that maybe the other side was a little bit clearer, and it started to move. So there's my cup. You can see how the cup is placed. The flat side of the cup is put against the piston. So the fluid is going to be in the center here, and it's going to push out on the cup, on that seal outwards to help seal it. So that came out, and then my piston, which I'm going to have to clean this up, and we're going to try to hone out this wheel cylinder to see if we can get this thing to work, because getting a wheel cylinder is not impossible, but it's not as easy as just going down to Napa or AutoZone in order to get a new one. And so we're going to try to clean it up and see if we can get this to reseal. I'm going to clean out this wheel cylinder. And so what I have is some brake fluid. And actually, it's brake fluid that's was just sitting in a bottle that, you know, probably over 6 months, and I already opened it once, and so it's not fresh brake fluid. And normally I buy brake fluid in small containers, not large containers. And so I'm going to use this with the toothbrush. This is one of my kids' toothbrushes that I stole from them, and so don't tell them that's where I got it. But when they get done with their toothbrushes and we get new toothbrushes, I keep them in the garage and I use them to clean stuff. So when you're cleaning out the wheel cylinder, you're going to want to use brake fluid for that and lubricate everything. And so I'm going to just get in there and try to get all the big heavy stuff out first. I like working on the wheel cylinder while it's still on the truck because it mounts to it and it's a nice place to it just holds it really nice is all it does. And versus if I take it off and put it on the vents, then I have to mount it in a vise, and it's just as easy to work on it here. And I did make sure that the brake line, I was able to get that loosened up. The bolts to the wheel cylinder, I was able to get loosened up, and the bleeder valve in the wheel cylinder, I was able to get loosened up. So anytime I try working on a wheel cylinder, I'm gonna check that first, because if I can't open up the bleeder screw, then that's gonna make me have a whole new wheel cylinder. If I can't get the brake line off, then I don't want to replace the wheel cylinder and I want to try to rebuild it. And obviously if I can't get the bolts loosened to unbolt the wheel cylinder, again, I want to try to rebuild it versus to replace it. So with this particular wheel cylinder, I got lots of options, and so I'm going to try to rebuild it first. And if it's still leaking, then I'm going to replace it, just because it's easier to rebuild than it is to replace. Okay, and then I, take some old socks that nobody wants anymore, or a rag, and I like using old socks just because they're smaller, and get in there and. I see lots of rust over here on this side. There's no doubt about it. So what I'm worried about is any rust that's on top of the wheel cylinder. I could get that off, but I'm worried about if there's any pits in the wheel cylinder. If there's any pits in the wheel cylinder, then that's the problem. Yeah, this side actually looks a little bit better over here on this side. I could just tell. So the next step in this process would be to hone out this wheel cylinder. So this is a wheel cylinder hone, is what it is. So you can get one of these at O'Reilly's or at Napa, so an auto parts store. And I got it to my cordless drill, and I put it on low speed. And so I'll take the stones, and again I'll put it in my brake fluid. The key is I want to use brake fluid as a lubricant. And I'm gonna put this guy in here. So there it goes. And I'm gonna run it back and forth. Now what I don't want to do is I don't want those stones to come out, because I can break the stones if they pop out. So if I go out and they pop out like that while it's spinning, that could be a problem. So I don't want to go that far out when I'm honing. So I'm going to do one side over here first, do this side. And the key is I'm not wanting to take off any material from the wheel cylinder. I just want to try to get all the rust out. So I'm going to lubricate it up a little bit. More brake fluid in there, and that's a lubricant. So .3 brake fluid if on most vehicles. again. I'm going to take a look and do an inspection. It cleared out really good. Cleared out really good. And so I'm going to stick my finger in there and to see, the key is, do I feel anything that catches my fingernail? I don't feel anything in there that catches my fingernail. Okay, so then the next thing would be to clean it out really good. So, get my toothbrush again. See if I feel any pits. I don't feel anything with my fingernails, but I'm worried about if there's any pits. If there's any pits, then the wheel cylinder, the cups won't seal. I've got some pits maybe in the very center, but the cups aren't sealing there, so looks like it's pretty good. Looks like it's pretty good on that side. So it looks like that wheel cylinder cleaned up. Okay, so we'll get new cups, but the rebuild kit doesn't come with new pistons, and so I'm going to clean up these pistons next. So if you take a look at these wheel cylinders, the pistons on them, again they're pretty rusty, and so I'm gonna try to clean them up a little bit, see what I could do with them, and I'm hoping I'm able to salvage them. I'm not so worried about the piston face itself or this side right here. It's actually the outside of the cylinder where I don't want any places where I could feel it on my fingernail, which I have a whole bunch right now, and also if there's any pitting in there. And so I tend to use just brake fluid to clean these up. I try not to use any harsh chemicals with it. And as far as trying to clean them up, either some Scotch-Brite or I got some 320 grit cloth on it, that sanding cloth that may work. But you know, if you just sit there and, again, I'm just trying to get it smooth, trying to get all the pieces off of it, and see if the Scotch-Brite worked. Now the Scotch-Brite worked for the other wheel cylinder. That it cleaned up pretty easy because it wasn't real bad as far as it wasn't stuck. Let's put it that way. This one here, you can feel some pretty heavy on that area there. And so, you know, the face of the piston, you know, I'll clean up just a little bit, but I'm not so worried about it. So we'll sit here and we'll try to clean this up. If I can't get it off with the cloth, then I'll try with the sanding cloth itself versus this the Scotch-Brite. And again, the key is that you're not going to want this round piston to have any flat spots in it whatsoever. So the key is making sure that you're not sanding it down where it's flat on one spot, because you want a good piston, good smooth piston that moves in and out of that bore. Okay. take a look at what comes in the rebuild kit, you got your spring. So this is the spring that helps keep the cups out when there's no brake pressure. And then you should have your two cups. So the cups are going to face like this. So again, I like how that spring right there fits right inside that cup. It helps keep that cup from collapsing. That's important on these old Dodge trucks, is that the spring right here, because again, they tend to leak. So you want something to help keep that that cup extended out even when you don't have pressure. And then your pistons are going to go like this. One piston there and one piston like that. Okay, so that's all how it sits inside the wheel cylinder. And then on the outside of the wheel cylinder, you got your dust boot. You know, will keep all the brake dust out of the wheel cylinder, causing all that buildup of stuff. I got clean brake fluid with a clean toothbrush, and I'm going to lubricate everything one more time. So, clean out everything. What I noticed is that on these Dodge trucks where the master cylinder is down on the frame, way low, that when you take the wheel cylinders out, you're not getting the dripping of brake fluid like you would on a normal modern car. I'm going to say it when the master cylinder is up high on the used to call it the firewall, now we call it the bulkhead. It's up so high, and just atmospheric pressure will push the fluid to the lowest spot, and it will drip out of the wheel cylinder. But on this truck, it doesn't do a very. I went ahead and I let off the brake pedal to see if it would drip a little bit, and it doesn't. So I thought, well, that's kind of nice. So I'll get that lubed up, and so first thing I'm going to put in is put my spring in, and so that could go in either way, it doesn't matter. Okay, then I'm going to put a cup in. So there's my cup, and I need to typically will lubricate it. So again, I'll just get a little bit of brake fluid on it on the outside edge. That's all I need, clean brake fluid. So the key is I want to put it where the cup here. Let's see, where's my picture at? There we go. See, picture it as a cup. You know, see, here's the little place where the little bitty miney small little cup, but that's going to go towards the inside of the spring. So I'm going to put that in over here. On this side, go in, and then I'll go with the cup. So here's my second cup right there. So I'm going to lubricate that with brake fluid. Just need the outside edge. There we go. So I'm going to put it again with the cup part towards the spring. So when brake pressure pushes on that cup, it forces the outside edge of that cup out, which will cause it to seal. So the more brake pressure you have, the better sealing you're going to get. You're going to want to make sure that is flat, that cup is flat. It doesn't it wants to be straight up and down, it doesn't tilt like that. Then we're going to get our pistons in, and I wipe down the pistons really good and get again, I could take a look at them, and again, I can't feel any protrusions on there, so all the rust has been sanded down, and I don't see any pitting or anything in there. So we're going to attempt to use them and see if I use any brake fluid. So what I'll do is when I get this all together, I'll keep an eye on my brake fluid and make sure it's not dropping down. Okay, so you're going to install it where the flat side of the piston is on the flat side of the cup. So we're going to put one on this side, and as soon as I put that guy in, I'm going to put a dust boot on it, because that dust boot is going to help that piston from popping out, because when I start pushing on the other side, there's a big spring. So there's my dust boot. So I got piston number 2 here, the one that goes in on the rear, And I'm just going to get a fresh coat of brake fluid, put on it. Gonna put that in again like this, so the flat side of the piston goes to the flat side of the cup, which is already in there. Push it a little bit and make sure it doesn't pop out the other side. There we go. And then I'm gonna put my dust boot in. Okay, there we go. And so now we could work on cleaning up the brake fluid a little bit. Get some carburetor cleaner or something like that to spray it down and clean off that, and then we'll be ready to put the brakes back together again. Rebuilding the wheel cylinders is probably a good place to start on this part 2 video of this series of overhauling brakes on this a full floating axle. I can't really go any further right now with leaving the wheel cylinders, because you should probably do that with the shoes and the brakes on to help make sure that the wheel cylinder pistons and the lips don't pop out. And so we'll stop right there. Our next video will continue on with rebuilding the rear brakes on this 57 Dodge pickup truck full floating axle. Hopefully you're enjoying this video series. And if you're looking for more automotive educational videos, please subscribe to my Professor Pintane YouTube channel. Thank you very much. You guys have a good day.